What is up everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we have 5 types of questions that will come up in the 2026 Year 6 Maths SATs. So let's practice them, learn them and get 5 more marks in our SATs. Let's go. Okay, these are super common questions that always appear in SATs papers. So let's go through them one by one before we dive in. Round 4.76 to 1 decimal place, so we have a rounding question. Then question 2, put these in order of size. So then we have a conversion of fractions. Question 3, what is 2/3 of 66? We have a fractions of amounts. And then what temperature is 20 degrees lower than 6? We have a temperature question. And finally, 6 times a number is 3000. What is the number? That's like an inverse number family question. So my advice to you now, press pause on the video, try and tackle these 5 questions, see how you get on. Get your answers ready because we're going to dive in to see how we solve these. So press pause on the video now, take some time and work out these 5 questions. Okay, so let's start with question 1, round 4.76 to 1 decimal place. Now, one thing they love to do in SATs papers is write everything in words just to make things that little bit more confusing. So my first tip is let's write it in numbers. So round 4.76 to 1 decimal place. So 1 decimal place. So I guess what we need to do is understand what 1 decimal place actually means. Well, when we're looking at this number, if we put it inside a place value chart, I could have my ones, my tens, and then next to my ones I'd have my decimal point, my tenths, and my hundredths, and obviously I could go infinitely in either direction. But this part of the place value chart is all I'm going to need. And then let's put in our number, 4.76. So now we can see that the decimal point is this line just here, and it's kind of the central point of any place value chart because we have fractions this side and our whole numbers this side. And we call these columns next to the decimal places. So when we're looking for just 1 decimal place, what it means is we're looking for a number that ends in this column just here. So we don't want 2 digits after the decimal, we want 1 digit after the decimal. So we need to somehow get rid of that 6. But it's not as simple as just cutting the 6 off because the 6 has some sort of impact on the number before it, in this case the 7. So hopefully we know this understanding that if we're rounding and the number next door is 0, 1, 2, 3 or 4, we round down to the floor, or if it's 5, 6, 7, 8 or 9, we round up all the time. So we can see the number is a 6 and that's in the rounding up column. So the 6 is actually going to mean that we round our 7 up to an 8. And the reason we do that is because the 6 actually means that this 7 is closer to actually being 4.8 than it would be just leaving it as 4.7. So we're trying to be fair when we're rounding. We want it to be the closest point possible. So there we go. I have rounded this number to 1 decimal place and my new number is 4.8. Don't forget to put it in the answer column. Now, one big mistake that I see people make a lot is they'll put 4.80 and oh no, all you've done then is you've added a 2nd decimal place and not followed the rules, so you'd get that wrong. So don't put a number after the 8, it has to only have 1 decimal place. Question 2, put these in order of size. Smallest first, so let's put smallest on this side, largest on this side. Now these are just all different types of fractions. Percentage is a fraction, decimals is also a fraction, and then we have the standard looking fractions. So we know these are all part of a whole. So when we're looking for something like this, let's draw a number line with 0 on one side and 1 whole on the other. What would come between 0 and 1? 0.5. Now I'm going to continue that on the top line, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, and then 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, 0.9, and 1. So now I can see my 0.4 sits just here on my number line, but I now need to think about where the percentages and where the fractions would sit on this number line. Well, breaking a number line into these 10 sections is a very helpful start. You can see we have tenths basically on here. We have 1/10 just here, 2/10, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and the whole. And the reason that breaking things into those tenths means that we can easily put other numbers in place as well. So let's look at 60%. Well, if we're doing percentages, let's do that in a different color. We would have 0% on this side and 100% on this side. What would we have in the middle? That's right, 50%. And now I think you can see that we can fill the rest of this in with 10%, 20%, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and 100%. And now I can clearly see where my 60% is. It's just here on this line, just there, or in other words, equivalent to 0.6. And last but not least, let's finish off with my fraction. Fractions are super easy, especially when it's been given to us as a nice easy fraction like this half, because this side I would have 0, this side I would have 1, and half would obviously be right in the middle. So I can see my half is actually this part in the middle, or in other words, 0.5 and 50%. So now I can see the order from smallest to largest. Starts with my 0.4, that's my first one, 0.4. Then after that would be my half, and making sure that I write it in its original form of 1/2. And then last but not least, the 60% is the largest value here. Be sure to write them in their original form, these three here, rather than any other variation that you might have made along the way, just to make sure you actually get the mark. Tick, correct. Question 3, what is 2/3 of 66? So we have a fractions of amount question. So again, it's written in words, let's write it in numbers. 2/3 of 66. So what this is basically saying is that I have 66 something and I'm trying to find this fraction of it. 2/3 is a fraction of the whole 66. So my answer must be less than 66. And because we're working out thirds, what I could do is I could draw 3 sharing circles, 2, 3, and then share out my 66. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I'm going to save you some time. 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66. There we go. So each of these circles now has a third of the 66. So in other words, this would be 1/3 of 66, this is 1/3, and this is another third, all together equaling 3/3, or 66. So if I wanted to work out what just 1/3 was, I could count how many was in this circle, which is 5, 10, 15, 20, 22. But I'm not just looking for what's in this circle, because my question says 2/3. So if I'm working out 2/3, I need to work out how many is in 2 circles. And if I have 22 in this circle, I'm going to have 22 in this circle. So altogether, I'm going to have 44. So 2/3 of 66 is 44. But that's a pretty long way of doing it. There is a quick way for those of you that understand the concept of what we're doing here. And what I basically did is I had my 66 and I divided it into my 3 sharing circles, which left me with 22 in each. But then I realized I didn't just want to count one of my sharing circles, I needed to count 2 of my sharing circles. So my next row of the question was 22 times by 2 equals 44. Much quicker, but we have to understand what we're doing in order to get to this answer. If you're not sure, draw your sharing circles. Question 4, what temperature is 20 degrees lower than 6 degrees Celsius? Now this sort of temperature question is super common in SATs papers, and I think the best thing to do is just simply draw it out. So let's draw a little thermometer going across here. There we go. Now we're going lower, so I can put my 6 degrees at this end and realize this is 6. What would come before 6 is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then crucially 0. We must remember 0 is a valid number, and then before 0 would be now -1, then -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, -7, -8, -9, -10, -11, -12, -13, -14, -15, and let's see if we've got enough there. Now let's work it out. So it says what temperature is 20 degrees lower than 6? So we start at 6, we're going 20 degrees lower. So here we go, count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And I land on minus 14 degrees. So my answer is negative 14 degrees Celsius. Make sure I put this little unit, otherwise I might not get the answer. And finally, question 5. This is another super common question. This is basically an inverse question or a missing number question because it says 6 times a number is 3,000. What is the number? So when we write this out, what it actually says is 6 times something equals 3,000. Now, what we should know is that each number sentence, this is a number sentence, is part of a number family. And in our number family with multiplication, we would have another multiplication question because also something times 6 would also equal 3,000. It doesn't matter which way around I put those numbers, I'm still going to get 3,000. So this is part of the number family. But then I also have the inverse, and the inverse of multiplication is division. And when I'm working with the inverse, the largest number will therefore go at the start. So one of my inverse questions would be 3,000 divided by something equals 6. But that doesn't really help us, but the next one does, because my final number sentence in the number family is 3,000 divided by 6 equals something. And now we can see that the question mark is at the end of this number sentence, therefore we can actually solve it. And it also means that this question here, 6 times something equals 3,000, has an inverse, and the inverse is 3,000 divided by 6 equals something. So now I can actually start to solve it, and I can do 3,000 in a bus stop divided by 6. How many 6s in 3? 0, carry the 3 across. How many 6s in 30? There are 5. How many 6s in 0? 0. How many 6s in 0? 0. So my answer, 500. The important part here, guys, is to understand that every number sentence is part of a number family of 4 sentences, and that if we have a missing number in the middle, to get it at the end, all we've got to do is just keep finding those number families to help us get the question mark at the end. Simple. They were 5 of the most common style questions that will come up in the Year 6 SATs this year. Hopefully this video has been helpful for you. If it was, head on over to themathshelter.com for loads more videos like this to help you with your SATs. Good luck in your SATs, guys. Peace out.